Hello there and welcome to another episode of Quick History. Today we're going to start getting into the key battles of the First World War, beginning with the longest battle of the First World War, the Battle of Verdun. There is, as always, a free handout in the description. Make sure you click on subscribe if you like what you see. Let's get into the details. The Battle of Verdun was an important battle for two reasons. Firstly, it was the longest battle of the First World War, and second of all, it was, in many historians' opinion, the most fiercely fought battle. The German commander, Falkenhayn, decided to attack Verdun, not necessarily for its strategic importance, but for its historical importance. Verdun was a precious city to the French. It was surrounded by nearly 60 forts and was a city of national pride for the French. Taking Verdun would have been a huge national blow at the very outset of the war, and France were determined at all costs to prevent that from happening. The aim of the Battle of Verdun was not to conquer the city of Verdun itself, but to simply make France commit as much resources and commit as many men as they could to defend it. Falkenhayn very famously said that the aim of the Battle of Verdun was to bleed France white. If they could commit as many French troops as possible to the area, that might allow Germany to make a breakthrough at a different part of the front. France, however, were determined to not let that be the case. France were going to defend Verdun to the very last drop. And very interestingly, for any Tolkien fans out there, the order from the French Prime Minister to the French generals was that the Germans shall not pass. So it's an easy way of remembering a very obviously key phrase from the Battle of Verdun. So the attack itself, well, the attack began, as most battles did in the First World War, with an artillery barrage. In the case of the Battle of Verdun, it was a barrage of 2 million shells. Now, the Germans had 1 million men, and those 1 million men attacked a French force of just 225,000. This led to the French having to retreat, and they retreat to about 5 kilometers outside the city limits of Verdun. It's at this point where the French decide to take drastic action. The French general, General Pétain, very famous, as we'll look in some later videos on the Second World War, was given orders by the French Prime Minister, as we mentioned, to not let the Germans pass. Now, French tactics were now exactly the same as the Germans. The Battle of Verdun becomes known as the meat grinder. The aim of the French is to kill as many Germans as possible. The aim of the Germans is to kill as many French as possible. This is not a war for territory. This is about a war of resources. Who can kill the most people? Who can make the other side use as many resources as they could? There was going to be no strategic value to this battle. It was all about resources, and that's the key why Verdun is important. Now, as a result of the Battle of Verdun and the French commitment to not let the Battle of Verdun be a failure, there is something called the Sacred Way. And the Sacred Way was the one road where the French could supply their own troops at Verdun with equipment, with food, and with weaponry. And very famously, the Sacred Way was kept open at all costs, and nearly 6,000 trucks per day went down the Sacred Way, supplying the French with their equipment. So what was the aftermath of the Battle of Verdun? Well, as a result of the heavy casualties on both sides, the Battle of Verdun became known as the meat grinder. The Germans fired 23 million shells towards the French lines and inflicted 315,000 casualties on the French army. The French were able to take around just short of 300,000 German casualties themselves, so just short of 600,000 men were killed or injured during this battle. And maybe more importantly for your GCSE studies, the real important part of Verdun is it led to the French demanding of the British that they open up a second front further up into the north at the Battle of the Somme. And this is what we're going to look at in the next video. If the British could relieve some of the pressure and make Germany commit some resources to the Somme, that would help the French maintain their presence at Verdun. As a result of this, neither side win the Battle of Verdun, neither side lose the Battle of Verdun. And it's a prime example of what we call a war of attrition. The aim was not to take land, the aim was to kill people and to injure people and to use resources. And this is the prime example. If you have anything to do with the war of attrition, the Battle of Verdun should be your starting point. As always, there is a free handout to help you with the Battle of Verdun underneath in the description. Click on subscribe if you like what you see. We're going to be talking about the Battle of the Somme in the next video. I'll see you then.